Good morning. Nice of you guys to drop by.
What a piece of junk. What are you talking about?
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
Look, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine. Trust me.
I don't know what all this trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault. Don't get technical with me.
This bickering is pointless.
Don't everybody thank me at once.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
How
could you even say that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Well, come on.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Would you get going, you pirate?
Get in there, you big furry oaf! I don't care what you smell!
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
I like the sound of that.
Get a shuttle ready.
I don't know. Fly casual.
Shuttle Tydirium, what is your cargo and destination?
Transmission commencing.
Hey everybody, thanks again for listening to the Shuttle Tydirium Podcast. I am your host, Jim Chadwick, also known as Hey Chadwick on the forums. And I have sitting next to me, Phil Mead, my co-pilot. Phil, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Nothing is wrong in the world.
You mean like
as a matter of fact,
it's
sorry?
not like you didn't hit the record button for 20 minutes or anything, right?
What?
That would be crazy talk.
That doesn't sound like something our co-pilot would do.
Hey, look what I've got in my pocket, guys. I scored big.
What is that?
Here.
What is in your pocket? Are you just happy?
Let me show you. Here it is. Do you know what these are?
Nope. If I didn't know better, I'd say that's some kind of a root.
You're right. It is a root. It's Orga root.
You mean
because we're celebrating a Life Day on the Shuttle Tydirium. Happy Life Day. If you're listening to this on Life Day. But it's the Life Day season, and we're going to celebrate, if maybe a little early, but I'm going to pass out some Orga root. Do you know what Orga root is?
No, but I already have it in my mouth. Tell me.
Is it delicious?
It's really good. Although
I think I'm going to save mine for later.
Oh, J-Bot, I wish you had taste buds. You would really enjoy this.
Y'all keep saying that about food.
Wookiees chew Orga root on Life Day to help them make the spirit journey to the great life tree.
Really? Wait.
Oh,
like spirit journey, like death?
No, like spiritual journey. Like I shouldn't take this while driving, or we might end up in an iron hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
wait.
Maybe you shouldn't be having this. Yeah. Give me that one back.
Well, hold on. I just ate J-Bot's too because he doesn't have a mouth. Is this something I should be worried about?
It's perfectly safe. You might start feeling the urge to snack. That's totally normal. I've got some nachos. Nick got some nachos in the back. You can have some.
Okay, my tongue is swollen. My tongue is swollen. Is that a problem?
I haven't had that happen to me.
Right? I mean, doesn't that happen every time you guys eat?
Oh,
if you should have a Wookiee Ookie cookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get the feeling. All right, I'll be fine.
Yeah. You know,
okay.
I do also want to say that we really should start saying happy holidays because, not everyone celebrates Life Day, and there are those who celebrate Sithmas. And we need to be respectful of all traditions here. So, Merry Sithmas
to all.
Yes.
And to all the good empire.
Happy Life Day and happy holidays. Maybe we just say happy holidays from now on. So,
we did have that company directive from Mr. Palpatine about putting the Christ back in Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you guys read that memo.
Was that before or after Laser Moon became sentient again?
That was before the Christmas Massacre Parade. So
gotcha, understood.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Well, we also have with us, with a numb tongue and all, we have Jake the Break, our chief engineer.
Yes, I'm actually good now. I had I store some EpiPens in J-Bot's rear compartment, so I just opened his rear, and then I stuck myself with that EpiPen, so I'm good.
What did you do to my rear?
Just, can you turn around real quick? I just got to seal that back up.
There
we go.
How many fingers am I holding?
You have 11 fingers. I never noticed that extra one.
Yes.
That is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Never mind. All right.
You gained that last one during the Clone Wars, I think, right? Somehow.
Yeah. we also have with us J-Bot, our cranky protocol droid. J-Bot, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's never really Sithmas in my mind until I get to hear that great, campfire classic of Grandma got ran over by a snowspeeder. So I finally got to hear that this morning on the way in. So I'm doing great. It's finally Sithmas, everybody.
Happy holidays.
I have not heard that song yet, and I'm kind of thankful. All right. So I know we lost some time here with 20 minutes of recording already, and I will. I figure we should go ahead and jump straight into the captain's question, which this captain's question comes from a listener. So basically, I was communicating with Steve Bolton from Wales, from Bristol, or outside Bristol, excuse me. And he was asking about the Mario Kart, and while we were chatting, he told me his son's name is Alex, which is the same as my son. His son's 14. He just recently placed 28th at the regionals there, which was a lot higher up, or decently higher up than his own father. That Steve and his son Alex listen to the show on the way to school when it comes out in the morning. And it also turned out to be Alex Bolton's birthday. Happy birthday, Alex.
Oh, happy birthday.
So I actually decided I would let Alex pick the captain's question.
Ooh.
And so Alex's question, basically, I just had it up here. So Alex's question was, if you had a blank sheet of paper to design your own Star Wars ship and pilot, what would it be? It does not have to reference anything that has come before. And as an example, Alex came up with the TIE Blaster for 43 points. It has 1 attack die, 2 agility, 4 hull, and 4 shield. You can focus and target lock. It is a cannon, crew, mod, and system upgrade. His pilot he came up with was the Tydirium General, PS7. And his ability is roll 1 extra red die when attacking with a cannon secondary weapon. And the concept was a planetary assault ship that comes in with ground troops and blasts the living bejeebus out of anything with a heavy laser cannon. It takes out defenses.
That sounds like a lot of firepower.
Yes. Which means it fits perfectly with FFG's current level of power increase. So great there. So with that idea, who's got an idea for a ship? Hey, Jake the Break.
What?
Great volunteering. All right.
I sneezed this Wookiee root that Phil handed out. It was making me
a little spicy.
Ugh. J-Bot never sneezes. Darn it. All right.
I'm not programmed to yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ship that I am going to create for this little captain's question is actually based off of the movie Independence Day, the one that was released in the 90s, not any unmentionable sequels or anything like that. So back in the 90s, the Independence Day movie had these big alien motherships come down to Earth, and then they had all these thousands of fighters, these kind of shell-looking fighters, almost like little crabs, and they were very maneuverable. They had awesome shields, and they really just put the smackdown on all those, I don't know what they were, F-16s that the humans were flying. And at the end of the movie, what'd you say?
F-18s at least. Come on.
F-18s, yeah. And then at the end of the movie, they kind of figure out, how to bypass the shields, and then they just kind of started dropping like flies. But I wanted to create a ship based on that, so I did. So this is the Independence Day alien fighter. So I gave this fighter a attack value of 2. I gave it an evasion of 3. I gave it only 1 hull point, and then I gave it 4 shields. Now, this ship only has the barrel roll action, so it can't focus, it can't boost, and it can't do anything else. So it really is kind of like a a weak overall fighter, but the shields is where it comes into its full strength. So it has 4 shields. After the combat phase, this is going to be the ship kind of text. After the combat phase, if the shields is less than 4, which is its full shield value, then you can add shields up to 4. So what this allows you to do is if you get, let's say, an X-Wing that manages to strip 3 shields away, but then no one else shoots it for the rest of the that phase, at the end of the attack phase, then it gets all of its shields back, kind of giving a representation to this really overpowered shield system. And yet, if you do manage to take out its shields and then have just someone else finish it off, all it needs is one to kill the hull, or if you manage to go through its shields with an ability or a mine or something like that. So that's my ship, the Independence Day alien fighter.
All right, so right in line with the
power creep.
The power creep. So it sounds good.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, Phil, how about we go to you?
Sure. So I have a more serious design in mind. I'm looking to put this fighter in the Episode 8, Episode 9 era. And I've got a design based on the P-38 Lightning from World War II. So if you know what that looks like, this is kind of similar. It's got a fuselage with a pilot and an astronaut behind it, with cannons in front of that fuselage. And then that's got a wing set on it. And there's engines on the outside of the wing. Extending back from the fuselage, there's like 2 booms on either side, and those end in like little maneuvering fins.
It was the fork-tailed devil.
That's right.
Nice.
So it's got a similar feel to that. So I went ahead and give it 3 attack, 2 agility, 3 hull, 3 shield. Focus, target lock, and barrel roll actions, astromech, cannon, and tech upgrades, and nice style. I don't know. So imagine a nice style. That's what it has.
Yes.
Nice style, that means basically a green 2-hard turn.
Yeah, a green turn of some kind. Yeah.
Nice.
To the
Talon
forum
rules,
internet
some
elite.
Talon rules on there.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Tap card to kill Nazis. Excellent.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, J-Bot, how about you?
Well, I was going to do the American aircraft from the Independence Day ones, but now that I've heard the F-A-18s, but now that I've heard how powerful Jake's little spaceships are, I decided to change my mind and go with something that might have a chance against those. So I went back to my second love besides Independence Day, which is the old anime series Gundam Wing. And my favorite Gundam out of those was the Gundam Death Scythe. Me being a lover of emo and dark and that sort of stuff. I gotta love the guy with the big scythe, right?
Nice. He looks like the Grim Reaper in robot
basically,
form.
yeah, the Grim Reaper in robot form.
You wear black on the outside because black is how you feel on the inside, right?
Exactly. Yes. How did you know? It goes great with my red hair and pale complexion I was born with. So I feel like I was kind of born to be, dark and like dark things. But the thing about this ship, if we'll call it a ship, is that it would be just like Jim's love, the Phantom, because it was the stealth member of the team. Essentially, it was the one that had radar dampening, stealth technology that basically infiltrated bases and stuff. I did a little research on this, and what I found was that basically if it came into contact with anything, it just killed it. I watched the series a lot, and you'd see it swoop in, spin its little scythe around, and everything would die, right? So in order to kind of capture that in Star Wars form, I figured anything it bumps or anything that bumps it basically dies. It's essentially like an epic style ship, but in a small base form, which I think is
So it's good to see some balance there.
Right, yeah. I mean, that way it's not taking over the battlefield and running through things like an epic ship would. You can miss it, and it can obviously miss you. I also think because it carries a shield, that it needs to have a pretty robust shield array. So I was thinking maybe 5 or 6 shield. I mean, it's a pretty hard to hit thing. I mean, you didn't really see it get blown up in the show very much, or at all, if I recall.
Right.
It might have a lot of hull. It might not. It was hard for me to tell because, like I said, it didn't really get shot that much. So I'm just going to take it the average that you see in a lot of these big ships, like one we'll discuss today. So give it like, say, 5 or 6 hull as well. Nice,
sure,
robust,
sure.
robust, small thing. But what it was very agile, and I think the only way to really capture that was to give it something that stands out as something different from the other ships in the X-wing world, and that's to give it 4 agility dice. I mean, that way it stands out. You're like, that is the most agile ship.
Right. So that it starts with 4, but then it
Right.
cloaks, and it goes to actually
that'd be 6.
6. Yeah.
So you're starting to see a theme. It's kind of a 6 style ship. So I guess to kind of carry the theme forward, it only makes sense that the primary attack for this should probably be 6 as well. So
That's reasonable.
I mean, I don't want to break the pattern now that we're this far into it. So
Yeah, I think this sounds sick.
oh yeah, see what you did there. So doing a little research, it wasn't a long range fighter. It didn't have a buster cannon or anything crazy like that for like some of the other guys. It was short range, had like Vulcan cannons and things like that. So I'm thinking we basically limit it so it can't shoot anything outside range 1, but anything that comes into range 1 like automatically gets shot at just without it trying. Just hey,
perfect.
look, you rolled into my realm of influence, so you're going to get like a 3 die unevadable like attack. I think
that could be like its scythe just going through them, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's obviously in addition to if they bump into me. If they bump into me, you're done. But that's kind of reaching out with the scythe. Yeah, kind of what that is. But I mean, this is a balance game. We need to balance it. So
right.
A little further in my research, I found that it actually was not really designed for space combat. It just kind of fell into that role. It was more of a ground combat.
Oh.
Which is funny because some of the ships we're going to discuss tonight from the news are built for atmospheric combat as well. And you see they fight effectively in space, but they're, since we don't have X-wing on the ground, we can't really see how awesome they must be on the ground since that's what they're designed for. So obviously I'm having to scale how awesome this ship is in the atmosphere down a bit to get it into space.
Of course.
I think the dial should be relatively slow. I'm thinking pretty much any one that's available out there. So 1 forward, 1 bank, curve, 1 sharps. I think we should even give it the backwards. I mean, this thing is kind of dancing around in space, so we'll give it the 1 backs as well. So back banks and hards and back straight. And since that's its real primary thing, let's make it all green. Just make it all green. And don't give it anything above a 2. So I think we'll make all the 2s white. Just because, I mean, it's a balance thing, but nothing above that. So no 3s or anything. So I think it sounds in my head, and I haven't written all this down, but it sounds like pretty balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't want anybody being able to kind of throw a couple of these on the table. I'm going to price it. Get this, everybody stay with me, for 55 points. That way you can't get 2 on the table, because that might be a little powerful,
and also not thematic. I mean, you can't have 2 on the table anyway.
Exactly. That's a good. I didn't think about that. So,
as a matter of fact, you should make it one of those special characters, right? So you can't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put like a generic person in it, but I mean,
that's true. You're right.
Wouldn't really fit.
You're right.
Wouldn't really fit. So I'm thinking 55.
Yeah, that's good.
If I ever design any of the other guys, I mean, I know personal preference, they're not anywhere near as good as the Death Scythe, so they won't obviously come anywhere close to that in point. So you might be able to get 3 of them on the table once I price out the other guys. Probably not going to be.
3 of them.
Yeah, well, not 3 of this, because this, like I said, this is probably the best Gundam out of the ones from the show. Since it was my favorite, it had to be. I don't choose bad ships to be favorites of mine. So I'm thinking the other ones are probably nowhere close to this, and and kind of power and prestige and that sort of stuff. So, but that's mine. It might be a little imbalanced. We could tweak that a little bit once it gets on the table.
Possibly a little underpowered, I think. But
yeah, it does worry me.
We'll have to play test it.
Yeah, that's I might throw this into that new custom card league I've heard about.
Right. I might. I have to admit that Alex's is seeming less power creepy by the minute.
Yeah, maybe a few waves down the road. This will be. I'll plan this for next year.
Right. This will be the new norm. The new norm. Right. So I actually I went pretty boring. I wanted to have a ship that was a kind of a cargo ship to be used in scenarios and missions by any faction for anything. So I want to take the GR-75 and I want to make a Scum and Imperial version, just kind of like a very generic versions of it that you can play with, that fit in with maybe an upgrade that lets it attack once. Like make a pirate version of it for Scum, at least, where you can kind of turn it into a really terrible gunship. But the idea is basically GR-75s that you can put that any side can play in, because there's so many missions and scenarios where you've got cargo ships and someone's attacking them, and you're trying to capture it, loot it, whatever. I like the idea of something out there that's just kind of usable by anybody to fit a good scenario or mission. So kind of boring, but that's what I'd go ahead and do.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I don't think that was
cool.
like bland or boring or anything. I thought that was great.
No, I think that Scum should have access to a lot more ships in general anyway. So they're not really broken if it's just the same ship with a different paint job.
Right. And it'd be nice to come up with even like a large-based cargo ship. Maybe not a YT or VX used by Rebel, but like also that's just kind of a very slow, lumbering, it has a cargo hold, and it just does nothing, but nothing combat related, but it's a plot point. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
So a little boring, but I kind of like the idea of having something out there. It's kind of like Star Wars universe universal cargo ship, something that pretty much everyone uses to run stuff.
Yeah, that's good. Very nice.
Cool.
All right. So thank you, Alex. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Happy Life Day for your captain's question.
Happy Life Day.
All
Happy
right.
Life Day.
So all those custom ships remind me of an event that I'm running. I'm going to be running for a while on the FFG forums, and that is the second season of the Custom Card League. So last season we had a whole bunch of entries. We must have had over 300 cards entered by different people. We had a Vassal tournament not too long ago, and forum user K-Dub won that, and he got a custom painted ship by me, and I mailed that off to him not too long ago. He wanted
Very
a
nice.
Mandalorian protector
cool.
fighter.
I like
Painted
K-Dub.
up with a little scheme. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy on the forums.
Yeah. But anyway, now we're on to season 2. I changed some things about the way you submit cards. So now you, instead of submitting individual cards like in season 1, now we're taking whole expansion packs. So if you wanted to submit something this time, it would be similar to what you might expect in a small ship expansion pack, or we're also doing aces packs. So you could have like a completely new custom ship. And a pack for that might include, 4 pilots, a few upgrades, and you'd of course be making the ship's, stats and the dial, and that would be one pack. Or you could make an aces pack in which you introduce fixed cards for a ship that you think needs it, or even 2 ships. And a lot of people are taking interest in that, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I announced the second season, I think about a week ago. And got a bunch of interest. And for a while there, I think like half of the threads on the front page had the CCL header, Custom Car League header. If you frequent the forums, you've seen these recently. You might have been less than pleased to see them taking up the whole front page. I know some people voiced displeasure.
Right. The people were like, where's my regular X-Wing? Why is my whole forum messed up with all this stupid CCL stuff?
Put them on some other sub-forum. There's no sub-forum to put them on, but they want... Someone said that, we should have a whole new sub-forum for them, or I should put them all on one thread.
People on the forums were complaining? Was that what you said? Complaining?
I know it's very atypical. It doesn't happen very often, but yes.
This is very out of character, but...
Yeah, something seems wrong there.
So,
very much.
I know it's doing well if people are complaining about it. I haven't gotten any death threats. I haven't really made it yet. But, I can see death threats from here.
Right. Right. You're working your way up to it's success when you get a death threat. You're on the right track. Right. So I have to say, that wiki route?
Yes.
Does it give you the hiccups? Because I don't know. I'm going crazy here with the hiccups.
I think it does that to some people.
I mean, if I did take it before I was driving, I wouldn't get hiccups, right? Not that I did.
You might.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you need to, I do have an antidote here. I keep in the back rear compartment of JBot. Hold on a second. Let me just open that.
No. I don't want anything. No, thank you.
Okay, you're good. All right, good.
No, good.
You can stand back up, JBot.
All right. Excellent.
I'm disturbed by all of this.
So if you're interested in making, custom ships, or you have like good idea to fix certain ships in X-Wing, check out the Custom Car League announcement thread. There's a lot of Rebel Aces type expansions. I haven't seen so many Scum Ace type expansions or Imperial type expansions. So if you got some good ideas for those, start thinking.
So, just as a summary, that the first one went through pretty well. I mean, like, was it fun? Was there any ship in particular that really stood out?
The assault gunboat did pretty well in the tournament, and I think it.
So wait, if you're an assault gunboat nut and you want to play with it, there's actually one in the tournament? There
was one in the tournament last season. The Season 1 cards are all going to go through a review process. And if I wanted to guess, I would guess that the assault gunboat is going to get nerfed a little bit. But I think it'll show up in Season 2 as a playable ship again.
So just wait a couple waves; it'll be perfect for FFG balance.
The nice thing about the Custom Car League is we can go back and change our ships. So if we make a mistake, we can fix it or eliminate it. So.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds excellent. All right, now speaking of power levels and better than old waves and such, we have some news. Basically, we hoarded one old news item to the point that we have actually 2 news items.
Yes, finally.
Yes, and the oldest, the first one, it's some pretty valuable intel. Should we talk about it?
I think we should.
It is valuable intel, a preview of the U-Wing expansion pack for X-Wing. I'm sorry, I always do this. Why? Jake.
Yes.
Jake, do you want to go over and review the U-Wing stats for us?
Yeah, let's take a look at the U-Wing. So the U-wing is a ship which has those kind of, in case you haven't seen the trailer yet, it has those kind of cool wings. We're really into the folding wings with the newer ships these days after that new shuttle and everything. But so this ship has 3 attacks. It has only 1 evade. It has 4 hull and then 4 shields on top of it. The actions involve a target lock and a focus. And then it looks as if, and I'm trying to read this here, we've got 2 crew slots available for this U-wing. And then it's got an EPT, it's got a torpedo, and then it has, what is that? Is that sensors? Yeah, sensors.
Yeah, or systems.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Systems, yeah. So that is our ship.
And we should say that it comes with a practically mandatory title, which is Pivot Wing.
Yeah.
It's got 2 sides. It's got attack, which reads increase your agility value by 1. After you execute a maneuver, you may flip this card. And it's also got landing position. Mm-hmm. And that is when you reveal a stop maneuver, you may rotate your ship 180 degrees. After you execute a maneuver, you may flip this card. So, if you want to, you can just have this be an agility 2 ship, like the whole game.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah, I think majority of the time you see this, it's probably going to be agility 2.
Or you can have the ability to actually rotate your ship 180.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because, let's just take the Lambda shuttle, which has been named the Space Cow because it's very awkward and hard to turn around.
Right.
Well, here you've got a pretty much Rebel shuttle, about the same thing, and it can actually, boom, 180 turn around for a free title.
Right.
Right.
Or you boost its agility by 1 because, you know,
both of those things are really good. And
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what is the cost for the generic? I think it's like 22, 23 points for the basic generic one.
Let me pull it up here. 23 points for Blue Squadron Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
23 points, yeah.
Hey, Pathfinder. It makes me think of World War II and the whole U.S. Pathfinders. But anyways.
Yes, I mean, it's pretty comparable to the shuttle. That's
well, it is comparable price-wise for the shuttle, yes, because the shuttle has 1 more hull and 1 more shield than the U-wing, and the same attack and green dice, except for that title that gives it an extra green die constantly,
right?
Mm-hmm. Or the ability to turn around 180.
Right. Also, we should talk about the dial. That's one of the first things that gets revealed in this article.
Right. So it's got to compare to the shuttle, right?
Right. So comparing to the shuttle, it's got a much better dial. The only red maneuver is the 0 stop maneuver. First
right.
of all.
Which is Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's got 1 tune 3-speed banks, 1 tune 3-speed straight. It's got white 2 turns, and it's got a 4 straight. So it's not a stupendous dial. It's only got 1 turn maneuver, but
it's better. Yeah,
it's better. Let's talk about the Lambda shuttle that we're flying here. So it's got what? Its greens are a bank and straight 1, and then straight 2 is green, and then it can bank 2 white, and then look 2 hard turn red, and 3 bank red, 3 straight white.
Now, just so everyone remembers listening at home, Jake the Break has modified our shuttle. So, I mean, we do green 1 turns, no problem. But yeah, in X-Wing gaming, our Captain Chadwick here is correct. That is the dial. So U-wing, the only red maneuver is the stop. Correct.
And it's got 6 green.
This is a ridiculous dial. I'm like in awe.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, guys, I'm in awe.
Yeah.
Looking at the Lambda, it's got 5 red maneuvers and 3 green.
You really have to ask. All right, so you really have to ask after looking at the dials, what does the Lambda have that aside from just one extra hull and one extra shield, is like there anything that it has better than the U-wing?
It can take Emperor Palpatine.
Well, it can.
That's pretty hefty until they come out with Yoda or the equivalent on the Rebel side.
God, please, no.
It can take a cannon. It can take a cannon instead of a torpedo slot.
Yeah. So I guess.
Well, the thing for me, this is what I've always kind of been curious about when you get to any of these kind of upgraded ships. For example, the X-wing. I know there are mathematicians out there who play around with these, but the point cost for just the shield and hull upgrades, what, 7 points if you were able to put those two modifications onto a ship?
Yeah,
so
but
isn't that? I know the math doesn't work out the same, but the reason I ask that is if they cost that as a modification, then they must be taking something away that costs relatively the same to get the prices that close. Is the way I'm. So they're either taking away maneuvers from one or they're giving them to the other. Does that make sense? Like, that's the way I visualize in my head, is that that's what they're trying to do.
I think we're making a little too much hay out of the comparison with the Lambda shuttle.
That's true.
Especially when you consider that, they're balancing for a competitive metagame, which is what they should be doing. And
all right, okay.
Well, yeah, okay.
I think
you take
I'm
that
on
with
the
salt
page
or
with
not,
J-Bot.
but
I'm with J-Bot right here, and basically, him talking about the Hawk versus the quad jumper or anything
you want
else.
to balance everything to the Hawk, or
well, okay.
yes, we should. It only makes sense. I mean, come on.
All I gotta say is that the early waves suffer these days, and you can't do much about it. And it sucks. I think
it would be. Yeah, obviously it would be better if there had never been power creep. But power creep happens.
It's better than Games Workshop.
Yeah, that feels like intentional power creep.
Right.
It certainly is to sell new product, but
yeah.
I mean, there's a touch of that in the FFG world too.
I don't know. I think that their power creep is more unintentional. For example, if their power creep was intentional, then we would have seen like the Houndstooth be really overpowered, because that was like the most expensive ship in Wave 7, I think.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have as many duds as we'd have. Like, every ship in the new waves would be better than every ship in the previous waves, and that's just not true.
Right. A lot of the early scum ships would have been crazy powerful.
Right. Yeah. The Karax never saw any big use.
Oh, come on! That's obviously done as to keep you from seeing their real game. Yeah, they're like, we'll throw a Seek out there, and they'll never see the Brobots coming. That's just how this works.
It's just like all of the scum ships are
guys.
fall into this category.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff. There's every wave probably has one. If we look close enough, there's a ship that you're like, oh, I see what they did there. They threw this one in front of us.
I know. I forgot. I recently
fancy artwork.
I forgot I recently upgraded J-Bot's conspiracy theory programming.
Right.
Yeah, don't even get me started on Destiny. Theories abound.
Yeah, so just overall, I admit that I look at the Lambda and I look at this, and I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is
I think Phil's right though, that we can't compare. 100% there, right?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to the Lambda in the way that they're it seems like this is what they might have preferred with the Lambda to look like.
Yeah,
might be a good point.
Yeah, because it works a lot in a lot of the similar ways, right? It has these wings that fold and it can land.
I guess the thing I do like about it is our Lambda is 5 and 5, right? 5 shield, 5 hull.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're sacrificing a shield, you're sacrificing a hull, you got less weight on your ship, you get a little bit better maneuverability. I get that. It just would have been nice, like, if the Lambda, I don't know, had like 3 crew or something like that, to show for that extra bulk, which I really do feel. But,
or the dial didn't suck as much, or
yeah, I think
whatever.
I mean, the thing was, at the time, the Lambda shuttle,
it really wasn't
actually.
That...
Yeah, when it was released, it could actually function because
no one had
slam
at the time. And exactly. There was
you could have generic shuttles.
Correct. There's a lot that was different. So
it was also, if you look at the dials for it, it's also the least maneuverable ship in the game, just by pure numbers of maneuvers it can do.
Oh, with the U-wing or the
original
shuttle.
Lambda,
the Albon and Space Cow.
Yeah, the only ship that's close to it would be. Anyone want to make a stab at that one?
Wait. The E-wing?
K-wing has
no. The
K-wing
Hawk,
doesn't
it has
have a
one
lot of
extra
maneuvers,
maneuver. So just by pure numbers, the Hawk is one maneuver better than.
Whoa!
So I have, back in my tournament days, I played a guy who had 3 Lambdas, 3 Space Cows, and actually had a field day. Everybody was laughing. It was 2 Hawks feasting on a field of cows because I could outmaneuver them with my Hawks. So I'm like,
You've heard of a chicken hawk? Have you heard of a cow hawk?
I've never had an opponent that I could outmaneuver before. This is amazing. And he's just like, I can't run away. I was like, nope. Normally that's my line, but this is awesome. But I know as much as I complain about the Hawk, I also am realistic and understand that the game is very different now than it was back then. And so balancing any new ship against that huge weight of what we at 10 waves now of stuff is difficult, because I mean, there's been people joking, when are we going to get a 2.0 that'll fix all those old ships? And I honestly don't know that it'll ever happen at this point. So.
Some are joking. I don't know about others.
But you're right, though. I really don't think they're going to go back and quote unquote fix it. I mean, that would be a monumental and potentially like an expensive task, even if they did the cheap way of just like, okay, here's a super FAQ. I mean, think of all the people who just like buy the game and like pick up the ship and, that do not have any of that, new fancy FAQ in the box even. It's not like playable out of the box anymore.
Yeah, and even re-releasing like kind of what they did with the Scum sort of quote unquote starter with new pilot cards or new inserts for the ships.
Yeah,
that would be huge to kind of.
Did they end up doing that?
But with the Scum, they basically said, here's a bunch of Y-wing pilots and stuff.
That
use your existing ships.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
well,
so
then there's Poe and Slow Poe, so they took Poe and made him PS9 and cost more.
Yeah, which was a little odd to me to think like, why did?
It is a little odd they went back. I mean, I think when they originally designed Poe, they didn't know how good he was going to be in the movies, and he's just unreasonably good in the movies. So
he's
I think they felt bad about making him an 8.
Yeah. All right. So what about the next level U-wing pilot, Heftober?
Heftober, also brother of October.
Yeah, I was going to make that joke.
Do you want me to, or Phil, you want to grab this?
Sure. So he's a pilot skill 3. His text reads, after an enemy ship executes a maneuver that causes it to overlap your ship, you may perform a free action. He's a 24 point. No EP.
When I saw this, I immediately thought to one of the cards that I wanted to love so badly, and then back in the day, but I just couldn't really rationalize the cost, which is the anti-pursuit lasers. You guys remember that for the shuttle?
From the Lambda kit.
Yes, my favorite ship back in the day. And so I see that and I think like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to put anti-pursuit lasers on this? So not only when you overlap do you get a free action, but you also get to attack the enemy. That would be like a really rare combo, but a funny combo.
Well, because you could always go with the crew of Zeb. Zeb from the Ghost Phantom. If you're Chopper. Is it Chopper that... Oh, now I can't remember which one it is.
Zeb is the one that lets you attack if you're touching.
Yeah, Zeb lets you attack stuff touching.
It also lets your enemy attack, though. Don't forget that.
True, but they won't have an action, and you will actually have 2 actions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's actually... I completely forgot about Zeb because I never use Zeb.
Right, not many people do. But here's a ship that basically you will get 2 actions, and they'll get no actions, and you can shoot each other. Okay.
Oh, Snap. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So that's like
not Snap. Snap's not involved in this. Snap
Yeah, well, I hadn't considered that. So you could actually potentially make this just a
bump master.
Yeah, exactly. Like a bump master ship. And you know what? Honestly, I had considered using a Shuttle Tydirium, or a Lambda shuttle like that, but it just doesn't have the dial. This potentially would have a dial more synonymous with like, hey, let's create something I could intentionally bump. You might, yeah, wow.
Now, I would say the one thing about the lambda dial that the one way you could make it better at turning around was if you gave it advanced sensors, so you can move it, do your action before you actually go, and you can boost and then do a too hard turn, which is red. That was like the one thing that was actually decent at turning around to make your lambda shuttle kind of, I don't know, playable.
Say that again.
So you would. It was the one advanced sensors where you take your action before you move.
Yes. Okay.
So you would boost. You would do your banking boost.
That's
right. And then do a too hard turn red, and you would actually have a chance of actually getting back into combat at that point.
Right. I remember now. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can do similar things here.
And so you could do that here. It's actually even. Of course, you have to get engine upgrade. I'm sorry on the shuttle, but
right.
But overall, yeah.
Engine upgrades are really good on large ships anyway, so it's not a bad buy.
No, definitely not. I often had that on the shuttle when I would fly it.
Right, and so this pilot is actually 1 point more than the base Blue Squadron Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So very worth it.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. What is next here? Do we look at Bodhi Rook? So,
yeah. Light him up.
Next pilot is Bodhi Rook. So this is the Riz Ahmed's character in Rogue One. He's the Imperial pilot with the little goggles on his head. He is a pilot skill 4, and his text reads, when a friendly ship acquires a target lock, that ship can lock onto an enemy ship at range 1 to 3 of any friendly ship. He has 25 points. So pretty much he lets any friendly ship can measure from any friendly ship to acquire a target lock.
So it's great for 1 or 2 ship builds. No. It's great for lots of big ship builds. Great for lots, like a swarm. Yes.
Yeah. Swarms. I mean, they speculate about like an A-wing scouting ahead, and then having a bunch of Z-95s with missiles taking target locks.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then also having guidance chips.
Z-95 guidance chip swarm. Yes. Hello, Bodhi Rook. and Bodhi is only 25 points, so 2 points more than the base. So 2 points more than the generic.
It's probably worth it. No EPT again, but certainly an interesting ship. I can't really think of a really effective, like ordnance-based build that includes him.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it is kind of a pretty big investment to put 25 points into him. So in order, for this theoretical list to work, you have like Bodhi Rook in the list, and then some other ship to go ahead and be in range for target locks, I suppose. And then a bunch of other ships with torpedoes.
Imagine the ship in Epic.
Yeah, that could be useful.
Yeah, very useful. So you could, in Epic, pretty much anybody can target lock anybody else at that point, within range.
Right.
You could go pretty much crazy with that. So
yeah, they suggest pairing.
Become pretty good.
They suggest pairing him with captured TIE fighters and maybe Ahsoka Tano. So the idea being that you take a TIE fighter, you're a rebel TIE fighter that the Imperials can't shoot at, and you fly it close to the enemy formation. Then all of your guys can get target locks, and you can harass them with that TIE fighter and hit them with an Ordnance Alpha Strike. That's a pretty cool idea.
It does get kind of hard in a 100-point game with this guy, but I think once you kind of move beyond 100 points, this guy becomes pretty awesome.
Yeah, he only gets better the more points you have on the table.
Yeah. 200 points or 400 points or, the more points, the better he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. He also comes in a crew form, and the crew is pretty similar. It's a 1-point crew upgrade, rebel only, and it reads: when you acquire a target lock, you can lock onto an enemy ship at range 1 to 3 of any enemy ship. So it's like his ability, but only for one ship.
Yeah.
The ship that he's on.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I like that overall ability. It is pretty neat.
Cool. So let's see, who is next? Had we already seen Cassian Andor's pilot card? I think we might have.
We've seen his crew card. I figured his pilot's card was probably pretty similar.
We can go over his pilot card.
Yeah, so it's pilot skill 6, and it reads: at the start of the activation phase, you may remove 1 stress token from one other friendly ship at range 1 to 2.
Which is pretty darn good in today's meta.
Yeah, and that also goes nicely with a crew card that we see here, which is Inspiring Recruits.
Oh, Inspiring Recruits. Well,
yeah, so this is actually one that created a little bit of buzz.
Yes.
So, let's see. Inspiring Recruits is a 1-point crew. It's not faction specific. It reads: once per round, when a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 removes a stress token, it may remove 1 additional stress token. So you could actually do that with Cassian Andor. I think that would mean that you can remove 2 stress tokens with him.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So cool.
So basically, any ship within range 1 to 2, when you remove 1 stress token, remove 2. So any faction. So here we go with, say, I don't know, Sunterfell and all these ways where you can basically hurt Sunterfell all these push limit aces for being stressed. Now there's a mechanic, 1-point crew. That means you can pretty much, take away 2 stress a turn.
Right. So this is a good counter to stress mechanic lists.
Right.
So that stress bot Y-Wing that was very popular not too long ago, the Stress Hog, could put out, I think, Jim, I think at its height, it was like 2 stress per turn. Could double stress something. And with this, it's not a problem. Double stress is not a problem because you can remove 2 stress with 1 green maneuver.
Right, or if basically you've got, I don't know, rage.
Right, so if you're double stressing yourself.
Yeah. You could rage and then basically remove 2 stress a turn.
Right.
And it's okay. All sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, the level of craziness with a 1-point crew card is overall high. You could do a lot of stuff. Inspiring Recruit allows a lot of really, really silly stuff to happen. 1 point, you know?
Yeah.
Party bus, throw them on. Hawk, throw it on. You've got a YT, whatever, throw it on.
Yeah, it's only 1 point.
Yeah. Dash Rendar, boom, put it on.
Yeah. So we also have another crew. That is Baze Malbus.
Baze Malbus.
So this is a guy, he's always hanging out with the blind monk friend played by Donnie Yen, I think?
Or Ip Man, in case you know that movie.
Okay.
I do. It's very good.
It's awesome. Anyone who hasn't seen Ip Man 1, 2, and 3 should immediately go and see those movies.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, this is the guy with the magic stick.
Yes.
Anyway, that's his friend. This is Magic Stick Man's friend. He's got the big gun. And he's a 3-point crew card, and he reads: after you perform an attack that does not hit, you may immediately perform a primary weapon attack against a different ship. You can't perform another attack this round.
Very similar to, what was it, Gunner?
Gunner.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah. Except you perform a different ship attack, which is kind of neat.
So Gunner's 5 points. This is 3 points, and I have heard
it's a lot cheaper.
I have heard different takes on this. I have heard, hey, this is great. I've heard this sucks.
So I think that this can be great if you have it on a sort of like a disruptive ship, something that's attacking other ships and is applying effects to them that don't require it to hit. So, for example, if you put this on a Arc 170 with the stress bot R3A2.
Or a different YT with
I would put it on a YT. Anything?
Yeah, YT with Tactician is also good.
Right.
And you take as your EPT. You know what? That's. I was thinking Hotshot Copilot, but So you would want to pair this with like effects that are disruptive but don't require a hit to work. So Tactician is good.
Yeah.
Hotshot Copilot is good. That forces your enemy to spend a stress token every time you attack.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm not sure. What do you think would be good EPT to pair? Is there any good EPT to pair with this?
I'm trying to think.
I mean, it can be modified like normal, correct? So anything that might generally modify
Predator.
Yeah, your primary attacks.
Like Predator would be good. You overall modify both your attack dice. Like if you know you're attacking someone that's going to be hard to hit, and then be able to hit with a second. I don't know. It just seems worthwhile.
Well, this is me just being goofy. I was actually considering the idea of putting him on like a K-wing, because you have a crew slot on a K-wing, and you can carry a turret, and it has a primary turret as well. So if you're using a turreted weapon that you happen to miss with, you still have essentially full view of the battlefield. Does that make sense? So
that's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I've got essentially 2 360 weapons that can fire or have a chance to fire every turn. So if I just happen to miss you with the whatever my main turreted one is, I could fire with the or missiles or that sort of thing too. If I'm using ordnance on the K-wing, I can could use it and follow up with a primary if something goes wrong with the other shot.
I like that.
And they're not crazy expensive for that sort of ship. Where Gunner feels very expensive for it.
Right. Yeah, compared to this, Gunner all of a sudden feels really expensive.
So Gunner lets you strip the tokens off somebody and then fire again at the same target to try to kill him, aka Sunter Fell. And this basically lets you troll 2 targets in one round. That are hard.
Yeah. So, I see.
Yeah, it would get expensive, but you could probably get 3 TLT K-Wings with this in one list, or pretty close to it.
It's unique, but...
No, that's right, he's unique. I'm sorry, I was thinking he wasn't. But the general idea would be something like that, because then you can strip tokens off of all sorts of very agile ships.
So maybe him and then 2 Gunners on your TLT list.
I would like him with I like him with Hotshot Copilot.
That's great. Just cause the stress.
Yeah. And you force them to use the focus tokens.
You pull off focus tokens from enemy ships.
Yeah. It is pretty good. So let's say Jump Masters was pretty bad. You've got your U-boats. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. U-boats aren't the thing anymore.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Was that Crack Shot that they killed? Was that the one they killed?
Well, it was Deadeye.
Oh no, it was Deadeye.
Deadeye.
Yeah,
it was one of those.
Yep. All right, so overall, I think it's pretty cool. I think large-based rebel troop transport. First off, just having a rebel troop transport for missions and scenarios is pretty cool, because we haven't had one. And so what do you do? Senator Shuttle, or who knows what? You got another YT, whatever. It's cool to have a military troop transport in the game. So I like that for that aspect, just to have an option. And I do lament the fact that, yes, they want to make it relevant, so they don't make it the same as the Lambda, which means it's better than Lambda, so power creep is in a full effect. So, yes. Hey, Alex, you'll be happy with this. Power creep. All right.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You get power creep. All right. Any other thoughts overall on the U-Wing and just kind of how it fits in and all that?
I like the look of the ship. Nothing else. It's very neat looking.
I mean, yeah, I'm an Imperial player. Won't play it, but I do like the look of it. It's kind of neat. And I like any ship really that's a large base with crew.
Yeah. I mostly play Imperial, but I do play Rebel on occasion. I want to see the mechanic for folding the wings and all, and so I think that could be pretty neat. I don't know. I imagine little gears and stuff that just go.
Okay, so next up is the TIE Striker.
Yes, a swift and vigilant defense. A preview of the TIE Striker expansion pack for X-Wing. So, Gold Leader, a boarding run under heavy fire. TIE fighters came out of nowhere.
Is that I wonder if that's a line out of the movie.
Sounds like a movie quote.
Gold Leader, maybe out of, I don't know, the sequel to Rogue One, Episode 4.
Okay.
Also known as Star Wars.
Yes.
A Rogue One story.
Yes. So, the TIE Striker... Where to start?
Yeah, let me shake it down for you. Let me tell you a little bit about the ship. How about that?
Shake it.
All right, here we go. We're gonna shake it.
Shake it.
Like a Polaroid picture, baby. All right, so we've got the TIE Striker. It's a really cool looking ship, and I think that Phil had mentioned it before. It's kind of like a TIE fighter that almost looks like it's more for intra-atmospheric flight than space, although I'm sure it can also fly in space.
It has been said, yes, it is designed for atmospheric. So we actually don't know if it actually can go in space, but as we know in Episode 7...
I hope it does.
Episode 7, you can fight in atmosphere, so... It's one of those things you don't know. Can it go in atmosphere? Can it only atmosphere, or can it go in space?
Yeah,
we
it
don't
looks
really know the
space-worthy
details.
to me. But...
Yeah, it looks like it's both, but you're right. There isn't any confirmation on that yet. So anyway, it's beautiful. It's got wings. It almost looks like a sleek kind of space jet. It looks very daggerish, which is awesome. Almost like a little like a half TIE Interceptor, which is cool. But anyway, so our TIE Striker here, it comes with 3 attacks. It comes with 2 agility, and then it comes with 4 hull and no shields for traditional TIE fashion. You have the actions of focus, barrel roll, and evade. And it looks like we've got a kind of like point values. I see that 2 of them, one is 20 points, the other one is 22 points. I don't see the generic. Do you see the generic point cost there?
It is somewhere in here. It's the Imperial Trainee, and that is 17 points.
All right, so you can get him. Yeah, get him right at 17 points. That's not bad.
Yeah,
all right. So that's
I have heard people complain that they thought it should have been 16 points, the generic. That why was it 60 points?
Some mathematician, I guess.
It's dead on arrival. Oh, it's going to be a horrible ship. Oh, it's 16, 17 points. Blah blah blah.
I'm not sure that people know how good adaptive ailerons is going to be. I mean, I'm not saying it is good, and people are stupid and they don't know. I'm saying we don't really know. Yeah.
So overall, with the with those stats, basically, if you think of a TIE Interceptor, and you instead of trade one of the green dice for a hull, you have the TIE Striker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if that's
stat-wise.
Yeah, stat-wise, but
yeah, stats-wise, that's basically how it is, and it's a little bit cheaper for that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other important differences.
Right. But overall, from the very, very base, high-level viewpoint, that's how it is. So if we look at the maneuver dial, though,
right,
that is one thing, and I actually find this very interesting, and I like this. And I see it as either a point of it being atmospheric, either atmospheric in space or atmospheric in general. But the fastest it can go is 3. All the moves are either 1, 2, or 3. That's it. There is no 4 or 5. And that's very different for a TIE fighter.
Of course, it does have the adaptive ailerons.
Yes,
title.
which is very different, but overall, I do kind of like that. Do we want to talk over about the dial first or adaptive ailerons? Because
yeah, I think we've seen adaptive ailerons before. So this is a TIE Striker only title. 0 points. Reads immediately before you reveal your dial. If you are not stressed, you must execute a white 1 bank or 1 straight maneuver.
Just pure momentum, which is kind of cool. It's like this thing is always pushing forward.
A mandatory boost before you do your maneuver. So,
which I believe on J-Bot's F-18s for the captain's question had this.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I had to change it. Yeah, it was a pretty nice ship.
Yep.
Yeah. So overall, with that, a boost before you do your dial, there's a lot of crazy repositioning you can do.
Oh, yeah.
Completely. And particularly if you've got a high PS skill, you can boost and choose which type of boost you do, after everyone's gone. So there's a lot of craziness involved in that. And so if you look at the dial, with that perspective, so it's not a slow ship. So if you go with a 0 point upgrade, it's not really a slow ship, but I do think it is still unique with that dial.
Yeah, and the million
dial's
choices
crazy
that it has.
Maneuverable. I mean, it's got basically every range 1.
It does.
It
has
option.
every, and even after range 3, there's even a middle finger here with hawk next to it, which I thought is an interesting.
Yeah, interesting choice. They're putting that on all the dials now. It's just, I think that's part of the machinery that they use to print these things now.
Part of the fine print.
So it also has these interesting 2 maneuvers. Have we gone over that?
No. So it's got all range 1 maneuvers, well, except for backwards.
None of them are red, all green or white.
Right. So basically, the straightened banks are all green, and the sharp turn is white. But tell me about the green. The speed 2.
There's only
2
straight is green.
Mm-hmm. 2 straight is green. We got the turns and the banks are white. But then we have a 2 choreogram, which is red, and then we've got 2 other 2 maneuvers here, which are
sloops. Segner loop maneuvers.
Segner loop.
I just wanted to hear you say the word sloop. So.
Okay.
Sloop.
Well, that's interesting because the way it kind of combines with your, in a sense, free boost or your kind of enforced boost is what those 2s. I'd have to see it on a table, honestly, to make kind of sense of it. This whole dial feels like, with the adaptive ailerons, it feels like something I need to put on a table and see how it actually maneuvers, because I don't have a sense of if I'm going 1 forward, for example, I've essentially jumped 2 for when I actually put down my actual chosen thing. So if I'm running adaptive ailerons, nothing on this dial is actually less than a 3 at that stage. Is that right? So it's really 3 through 5?
Yeah.
And am I kind of making that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes some sense.
So it's like, yes, it's super maneuverable at short ranges, but not if you're using the adaptive ailerons. At that point, it's a massively fast ship that can almost turn around on itself and do like a full 360 in 1 turn. If it's, taking, I'm going to boost to the right, I'm going to, hard turn to the right, and then I shouldn't say boost, I'm going to adaptive ailerons to the right, turn to the right, and then boost to the right again. I'm almost done a full loop.
So do you think that this, I'm sure this is going to happen, but do you guys think that there are going to be pilots and maybe upgrade cards or EPTs that you're going to want because it causes you to cause a stress on yourself, so you can avoid that using that?
Yeah,
in other words, so you don't have to use.
Playing around with stress to prevent yourself from having to do adaptive ailerons might be something that that becomes part of this fighter's gameplay.
I would feel like it's almost a must.
Well, just thinking about like the 2 K turn and the 2 sloop, and the ability to actually boost before you do that, and so You can even take a K turn, but the ability even just you pick K turn, you can boost straight, you can boost right or left, and then do that K turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like that maneuverability, like to choose after everyone else has gone for a high pilot skill ship, is pretty crazy. And even just like the sloop, I mean, you could like bank either way and then the sloop, and that totally changes where you're going.
Yeah.
And just the variety and the aspect of a high pilot skill, ship to do that is pretty downright crazy.
Yeah, I think in the right hands, it could be very, very difficult to kind of keep a firing solution on.
Yeah, kind of sounds
in my hands, it's basically a magnet to every asteroid on the thing. Because, I'm going to plan this to bank to the left and then sloop to the right. Oh, no, I just got 2 asteroids in my turn. Or I'm going to be right in front of somebody because you really do. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not a 2 sloop. It's a 4 at that point.
Think
it's just a weirdly shaped 4. It's going to take some time for people to get it, but the ones that do, I think the ship's going to be, very, very dangerous if they can control it.
Right. I think you're basically right. It's a high pilot skill, as in high player skill.
Right.
Unlockable.
And if your opponent can't visualize where you're going,
right.
Even
that's
more
the other
so.
half of it. If the disparity in that ability to even understand where the ship can get to in one turn is high enough, then that somebody's it's going to be me. Let's just go ahead and put it. I'm going to have a bad day because it's going to be Jim flying this thing in circles, and I'm not going to get a shot on it. And my only hope is that I'm just running all turreted ships, so I don't have to worry. I just kind of zoom along on my own little path and shoot at whatever gets around me. But
kind of reminds me of that. Do you guys remember that ship? I can't remember the name of it because we're forbidden to say it in the shuttle. It started with a. It was like a Type P, PH something.
Punisher.
Type PH. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I don't.
Punisher.
I don't know. Never heard of it. No.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
that is kind of what those cloaking style ships were known for, was kind of just being unpredictable in where they're going to be at any given spot.
Well, okay. About the TIE Phantom, it would actually be able to see where everyone went and then decloak, and basically it was a free gimme move. Like this gives
the original rules, the old rules.
The original rules of the TIE Phantom was still like, I cloak space 2, right, left, or forward, and then do my move. Well, this gives you a boost. I don't know. I still think the TIE Phantom was a bit.
Oh yeah, that kind of that choice of, in a sense, barrel roll made that thing in a sense unpredictable, but at the same time predictable. Like you knew it only had 3 options: forward, left, or right. This you do because of the combination of the dial. You're like, okay, I know it can start moving to the right, but he could have gone hard left with his turn, or he could have, he could sloop completely on back on himself. Like it's beyond my skill. I can go ahead and say that. There's no way I'm buying one because I can't fly it. I can go ahead and tell you that right now. Which is a shame because I actually do like the look of the ship, but I know I won't be able to fly it. That's at least with adaptive ailerons. As just a normal ship, I'll be okay.
You don't have to put adaptive ailerons.
Right, but with that on it, which feels like a, what's the point otherwise? Then I just can't see myself not wrecking it, because I ran a Phantom. The very first time I ran a Phantom, I ran was it Whisper, the one that lets you take the curved? Is that the one?
Yep.
It's Echo.
The Echo, whichever one lets you do the curved barrel rolls. Yeah, that didn't go too well. So turn 2, I decloaked onto an asteroid and was dead at the end of turn 4 as I pulled away from the asteroid. So
as it should be.
Had a bad so I was like, well, that was my really bad experience with trying to fly a Phantom.
First and last time.
Well, to use the latest vernacular, there will be some salty people when this ship comes out.
Maybe some salt. Pass around the salt.
Yeah, licking the lemon. There'll be some bitter people.
But
it's only agility too, though.
Yeah,
true.
Right. It's only agility too.
There's bitter people now.
Go ahead and talk about what's the agility. It's only 2.
Mm-hmm.
But
Only
wait,
you still got to be able to hit it.
Right.
But no, a turreted ship can get a pretty nice shot on it. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but even think about this. Like,
With
let's
the
say you can do a 2 hard turn. So let's say you get to boost any direction, right, left, or straight, and then do the 2 hard turn, and then let's even say, I don't know, barrel roll afterwards as your action. You can end up in crazy locations. Like, you don't even have to do the red maneuvers, but even just like a 2 hard turn or a 1 hard turn, you can do some really, really crazy maneuvers where you boost 1 hard turn, barrel roll, and end up in almost the exact same position or a completely, utterly crazy position,
yeah,
based on the ship. It's
going to be hard to predict even when you know how it flies, because it's going to have a lot of possibilities.
Huge amount, like ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm actually thankful they didn't give it a boost. There's, I guess, the possibility to throw an engine upgrade on it, but I'm actually I'm happy they didn't say, let's give it a boost on top of it.
That would have been amazing.
Just for giggles. Let's just see what happens.
But there is another modification card that comes in this pack.
Wait.
There are some good modifications.
Before we even get there, let me just say that I think this ship would totally rock in Mario Kart.
It
probably
might,
right.
Especially with adaptive ailerons. Yeah, you're definitely right.
Oh my God, those free boosts before you do things. I think in Mario Kart, this ship would do very well.
Yeah, or it just bounces off a lot of stuff. So we'll see. All right, moving forward.
All right. So Phil, you want to talk about the
next
other
upgrade?
modification?
Yeah. So the only other upgrade card in this pack is called a low mass frame. It's a tie only modification.
Lightweight frame.
Sorry, I read low mass because we're in space.
But this is the one in intra-atmospheric.
That's right. This is
a tie only. It's a tie only upgrade, guys. Tie only, not tie striker only. Don't get too excited.
Yeah.
Hey, it's still based on atmosphere.
Anyway, it reads, when defending, after rolling defense dice, if there are more attack dice than defense dice, roll 1 additional defense dice. You can't equip this card if your agility 3 value is 3 or higher.
This sounds like madness, Phil. Explain it immediately.
So, when you're defending, if the bad guy is rolling 3 attack dice at you, and you roll 2 defense dice, you get to roll another defense dice. If they're rolling the same amount of dice as you, or fewer dice than you, then you don't roll more dice.
So what do you think? Is this an awesome card, or is this just kind of bleh?
Wait. There's still more to it. There's still more fine print. You cannot equip this card if your agility value is 3 or higher.
Right.
Captain, the co-captain just said that.
So,
yeah, I said that in the first pass. It's also 2 points.
All right. So one question I had is, just after rehearing the wording, when defending, after rolling defense dice, if there are more attack dice than defense dice, roll an additional. So do you roll that when you roll the other red or other green dice, or do you roll it after the red dice?
Oh no,
after the way it's written.
So that you can't actually modify the green dice after it's been rolled, can you?
I think you can. I think you probably. Yeah, it's after rolling your defense dice. It's not after modifying your defense dice or anything.
Okay. Just making sure there's not weird shenanigans.
Yeah, at least the way I'm reading this is it's there for, hey, I'm a 2 agility ship and you're a 3 attack ship, right? On normal ground and open space, I get to roll a 3rd green die. But I don't get a 4th green die, for example, if you're shooting me at range 3, because I've already got my 3rd green die. That's kind of the way I'm reading it, is that range is going to make up that difference, unless the guy's got way more attack dice than you do. Does that make sense? So like if he fires ordnance at you, or I should say if he has like a 4-die attack at range 3, then you would get 4 dice. Am I reading that right? Because you get 1 for range and then 1 for this card.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously that's I think that's about as much as you can get short of through an asteroid. And then you're looking at somebody with a 5-die attack.
Yeah, but there are weird shenanigans with it. Like
you won't get it at all. I'm saying. So if you're at range 3 against a 3 attack die ship, you're not getting this card's benefit in any way.
Right.
Not if you're an agility 2 ship, but
yeah.
Does Ken
Are
go
there
on
agility
any
1
ships?
ties out there?
Yeah,
Well,
TIE Punisher.
You could be TIE Punisher, or you could be, let's say, a Special Forces TIE who uses Expose.
Special Forces TIE. Oh.
who uses Expose. Yeah. So overall, the TIE ships that could use it are the Punisher, the TIE Bomber, the Special Forces TIE Fighter, and the TIE Striker.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think the more hull and shields you have, the more effective this card is. So, and the fewer defense dice you have native, the more often you're going to be using this. So, TIE Punisher is actually not a bad ship to have this on.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, that's scary to give a Punisher an extra agility.
Yeah.
Right. And
now
this is constantly going to be triggering.
Yeah, for that, it almost always is.
One large complaint that I've seen online already about this is basically, well, if you're a TIE Punisher, if you're a TIE Bomber, you're going to want guidance chip or long-range sensor. Why would you ever want to not modify your ordnance for this card? And the answer that I see is, well, one, what if you don't have ordnance? What if you take bombs? You know, Deathfire, or who's the other one that's the Punisher one with bombs?
Death Skull?
Yeah, Death
Ray?
Death Face.
Death Rain? What is it? I actually can't.
It's Death Rain and Deathfire, I think. I think Death Rain is the TIE Punisher.
Death Rain, yes. Death Rain is actually that, or Deathfire is the other one. So basically, those reasons alone right there could be enough. Or
did you say Death Rain? Death Rain and
Death
who?
Face.
Death Rain is the TIE Punisher with the bombs at the front.
Right.
And Deathfire is the TIE Bomber that came out with Imperial Veterans that lets you drop out a bomb for free, basically.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
The PS3 one that no one ever takes.
Right.
So those options are good, but there's also a TIE Shuttle, which is the TIE Bomber with the Shuttle title, where you remove all ordnance and bombs, and you can take crew. That's actually also a good reason, because you don't need any long-range sensors or guidance chip. And that's another reason you could take it.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe you could have like one of those AWACS TIE Bomber shuttles, like so TIE Shuttle title, and then you have like Systems Officer and Fleet Officer, and give this upgrade, and you could be buffing all your friendly ships, and and you're essentially Agility 3.
Like Fleet Officer, which would give you a focus and someone else a focus, so you basically got your three green dice and a focus. Yep. I also wonder about Tomax Bren, who is the one that can reuse his EPT like Crackshot. So if you take Tomax Bren, that's PS8, and he's got Crackshot, they can reuse, and homing missiles with extra shot, and then this. Basically, you might not need guidance chip if you've got homing missiles with Crackshot. Like, yeah, you might get one more hit, but is that more important than the one or two missiles to possibly get that extra hit in, or could he live that much longer and still fire main guns with Crackshot every round?
Yeah. It's an interesting question. He might be pretty decent.
And yes, it's another, fickle green dice in the forums says that the green dice are fickle, and it sucks. There's a lot of people, you're spending 2 more points and this card's dead on arrival, blah, blah, blah. And I disagree. I think that there's actually ships that not everyone can use. You're not going to stick it on every TIE Bomber, but there are ships that could use this. The Special Forces, TIE fighter at 2 green dice would love this, though some people say, well, you really want to use Mark II ion engines because it dial sucks and you want all the green dice. But if you don't stress, it could work. It could be a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I think in general there's a lot of potential with lightweight frame. One thing that I do want to point out before we go on is maybe you might want to think about putting this on a TIE Punisher with accuracy corrector also as a system. So you would have a pretty... because that's actually like very points efficient, that upgrade.
Yeah.
So you'd have a pilot skill
save your
ship.
focus for defense or whatever. Yeah. You
boost
all right.
a lot. Anyway.
So we have 2 unique pilots that have been left, that have been discovered for this particular TIE Striker. So the PS5 one, Countdown, quote, Countdown. You want to go over that one, Phil?
Sure, I do. So Countdown is pilot skill 5, and he reads, when defending, if you are not stressed during the compare results step, you may suffer 1 damage to cancel all dice results. If you do, receive 1 stress token. He's 20 points. No EPT.
So let's say you get Fen Raud or some other level, with Alex's TIE Striker or TIE ship, your heavy laser cannon does 8 damage to you, but you're not stressed. Boom, you take one damage and 1 stress. You cancel the rest of the results. So, bam. That's a good ship. That's a good...
yeah, it's pretty tanky.
Yeah. Particularly with the latest power level of, of like taking your super ace with amazing shots like Fen Rao. That's pretty darn good. Yeah. 20 points, PS5.
Yeah.
That's a good one to actually take the Mark II ion engines because you want more green to remove the stress.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also good with whole upgrade so that he's actually got 1 more round of ignoring your massive hits.
Yeah, he's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And then for 22 points, we have the PS6 pilot, Pure Sabak.
I was hoping his name would have instead been Idiot's Array, but Pure Sabak is okay.
These Imperials don't have good sense of humor.
Idiot's Array would be much cooler.
So his pilot ability is when attacking, if you have 1 or fewer damage cards, roll 1 additional attack die.
Now, in my mind, being a TIE fighter of any kind with no shields, that's a little bit hard to do.
Yes,
unless you're just that good at... Yeah, it seems like it's dangerous. But then I guess that's why they call it Pure Sabak, right?
Yeah.
It's a gamble. It's a risk.
It is a gamble,
so,
yeah.
I could see maybe giving this guy an extra green die to be well worth it.
Like, yeah.
Lightweight frame.
Yeah. I think that's probably a pretty worthwhile upgrade for this guy.
Yeah, so 22 points, PS6 at range 1 unmodified or range 1 undamaged. He is rolling 5 attack die.
Well, damaged, yeah.
Undamaged. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. If you have 1 or fewer attack damage cards.
Now, Pure Sabak has an EPT, Elite Pilot Talent, while Countdown does not.
That's right.
So there is that. So maybe Pure Sabak can, go with the Predator or something.
Would you also put... Go ahead.
I was going to... What they suggest in the preview here is a Swirling Eater, which is another upgrade.
A new EPT. A new, maybe possibly game-changing EPT.
Game-changing. Change the world. With Swirling Eater.
Ooh, the power of the dark side.
That's right. I'll show you the dark side.
I've quadrupled my flip power.
Yeah, now, I know when I first read this article, I personally jumped all over this Swarm Leader card. Maybe everybody else did too.
A lot of people did.
For the main reason being, it's not locked to a faction or a ship or anything fancy. So it basically opens the floodgates to just a myriad of options. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there when they saw this were cackling into their morning coffee. And so how about I read this one, since it's so rare that I find a card that I actually think's neat.
Yeah.
It's a unique, or I should say you only can use one of them.
Yep.
It's a 3-point EPT. When performing a primary weapon attack, choose up to 2 other friendly ships that have the defender inside their firing arcs at range 1 to 3. Remove 1 evade token from each chosen ship to roll 1 additional attack die for each token removed. I posted on our friendly Facebook page a silly combo of my own devising while I was sitting there at work, dreaming about how I could use this card. As an example, and this might be completely wrong and you guys can blast it out of the sky. So I said 2 prototype A-Wings, which are the dirt cheap ones. With, I didn't write it on here, but with the, what the heck is it? Modification, the one that, Chardin refit to drop the points. 1 Hawk with Rourke, TLT, and Jan Ors. And then an E-Wing, which is, this is basically a small modification of my old tournament list. 1 E-Wing, the Corrin style E-Wing with Swarm Leader, R2, and Fire Control. With the idea being the prototype A-Wings just hang back, taking evades. The Hawk with Jan Ors can actually also focus and turn that focus to an evade for itself, giving you options. Essentially, you have 3 ships that have evades they can feed to the E-Wing.
Sure.
And where possible, you could basically do a pure attack run of 5 dice with Corrin, with a follow-up with his second shot of 4 dice if you burn all 3 of their evades in a turn, which to me sounds frightening, but also that's probably just a general average attack these days of 4 dice, 5 times. You did a lot of work to get that one. I could do that with 2 little upgrade cards, but for me, I thought it was an interesting. I'm like, wow, this is going to really kind of change a lot of what's played out there, because it seems like such a card that can go anywhere.
Yes.
For what it can do. There's so many ships that can take evade tokens or find ways to get evade tokens that it seems like it could be used almost anywhere.
Let me reel this in for just pure sabacc. So let's say you get a ship at range 1 with pure sabacc, who's doesn't have more than 1 damage. So there's normally 3 attack dice. Range 1 is 4. Extra sabacc, pure sabacc damage 5. Let's go with the Swarm Leader. Boom. 7 red attack dice. 7 attack dice. That's crazy. That's downright crazy.
I agree. Just, it's nasty that the things it can do, and I assume it's going to change the way a lot of lists are built. I don't know for that for certain, but it feels like it's going to change the way some of those lists out there are built to kind of take advantage of that.
I would say that, temper your enthusiasm for this card, because it is 3 points. It does take an EPT slot. EPT slots are very popular. And you're also removing tokens from your other ships,
Yes. So one of the things in the forums that everyone was like, oh my gosh, this works great with the TIE Defender X7 that gets the free evade token. And here I am thinking that, oh gosh, what's great about the TIE Defender? Sure, it's predictable, but you get the free evade token. So you can do the focus, where you've got your 3 attack die, you've got your 3 evade, or 3 green die, and evade token. It's really, really hard to hit. But suddenly, if you want to use Swarm Leader, you're taking off evade tokens off TIE Defenders, making your previously way too overcosted ship suddenly not having its bonus focus, evade tokens, which
that's because everybody realized the Defenders never needed that, so they're like, oh yeah, now I can just give it away because I never needed it to begin with.
So to me, like everyone's like, this will work great with the TIE Defender X7. And I'm thinking like, this works horrible with the TIE Defender X7. That's a really bad matchup.
It depends, because sometimes those TIE Defenders will be getting those evade tokens. They get them for free on their move, right? So sometimes they won't need them. So say you have a TIE Defender that's not in somebody's arc, it's got an evade token that's essentially going to waste. With this, you could put it to good use. And the other thing is that you roll an attack die at the cost of one evade token, right? So an evade token is good for one evade result. An attack die is 50-50, attack or hit or crit or focus or blank. So this is good, but you also definitely want to have stuff to modify your attack. Otherwise, those attack dice, they could just crap out on you.
Right, and you have to have the target in your firing arc, and so you've got two defenders. You're running like a 3-ship list at most, pretty much, with the TIE Defender, and Swarm Leader, and you've got to have your TIE Defenders actually have the target in their firing arc, and then also not be in a firing arc themselves. So to me, I think this goes so much better with something like an Academy TIE Fighter pilot. 12 points, a free evade, you're an evade token generator. And you know what? They're great blockers. You stick them out there, you try to be a bump master with a 12-point TIE Fighter. So boom. And what's great is you can go out there, put your evade token, something bumps into you and from the front, you know what? They're still in your firing arc. You can still spend that evade token to help boost somebody else's attack. So I see this as basically being like Darth Vader with the X1 title, advanced targeting computer, engine upgrade, and like 4 Academy TIE Fighter pilots. Or is it 5? Or is it 4
they certainly,
Night Beast? Yeah.
That was their intent when they made this, to work with swarms, obviously. It's right in the name.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
To me,
that was why I did that with
Fighter.
the A-Wings, was because they're obviously not as cheap as the TIEs, but they're still, with the Chardons, they're pretty 15 points for the cheapos.
Yes.
You can actually get a nice chunk of them and still have a pretty beefy E-Wing in front of them. So
I see A-Wings and I see TIE Fighters really making this card work out. I do not think X7 is the way to go. And there's also various cards like, who is it? The Hawk crew that lets you turn a focus.
Janor's. That's what I had on mine. It's not specifically a Hawk crew, but it's it's where you see it most of the time. I think.
She came in the Hawk. She's the Hawk pilot. Came in the
Rebel
Hawk.
Aces.
All right.
One thing that made me angry when I saw this upgrade is the fact that about a week and a half before this was spoiled, I came up with my own EPT that's essentially the same exact thing, except better. And so I was calling mine, because I'm working on this for the Custom Card League, because I'm going to make an entry. And I call this Fire on My Target. It reads, when attacking, you may place 1 Weapons Disabled token on up to 3 other friendly ships at range 1 that also have your target in their primary firing arc and have a pilot skill lower than you. For each Weapons Disabled token you assign, add 1 hit result to your roll. So, instead of taking evades from other fighters, which does make sense, this is more simulating everybody firing on the same target. So you take away any more attacks that they would have had, any attack that they would have had during the round because they have weapons disabled.
And it adds a direct hit though. It adds a direct hit. Success. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a brutal
I hadn't
card.
costed it yet, but I thought it was pretty cool. I'm not sure if that would fit on a card, but
but it's everything.
Words.
But you had it at everything within range 1 of the firing ship.
Yeah, I also had the friendly ships had to be at range 1 of you, so you had to be flying close to each other.
Right. So I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, it's definitely a stark difference from this one, if not only because of the not taking the evades away from it, but the thing I found interesting about the Swarm Leader was that you don't have to be in any kind of range of those ships.
No.
Like, it's only those ships have to be within range 1 to 3. So they could be on the far opposites, essentially, as long as they have it.
Yeah.
In their 1 to 3 arc, you can take their evades. So I guess that, to me, it's a little bit counter to the argument Jim has of, well, you can actually use support ships that are way away, in a sense, away from the fight that are taking evades. The same idea with mine with the Hawk, which is he doesn't the fight. He can be circling the whole thing, still passing out that evade himself and helping the attack. But mine, the list I did, obviously it's a view list. It's more of a one-trick pony, but I can see this card being very, very heavily used going forward. I mean, it feels like it's got that kind of this could change the way things happen. So
yeah, I mean, and well, you go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I think what I like about this is when I played TIE Fighters, I did not use Howl Runner, and I did not fly in formation because it made you very predictable. It made you very easy to be flanked and such. And one thing that's different is a lot of people I saw would use Howl Runner in a list with Swarm Leader, and I don't think it's actually a good idea because when you fly with Howl Runner, you're kind of locked into that within range 1, so you're really stuck in that formation, and you're really kind of just formation flying. But a true swarm, particularly with like low level, pilot skills, it's like when I used Shizor with 5 Z95s, you create like a net of low pilot skill ships that are out there, and then you really limit the maneuvers because no matter what dial you pick, you're going to bump into some TIE fighter, which means you then get, moved back, which means you bump into somebody else, which means you move back, which eventually kind of sticks you in the front of a TIE formation with no actions and a whole bunch of crappy TIE fighters that can shoot at you. And with that, you can really spread out more with a Swarm Leader because you don't have to be stuck with a shitty Howl Runner. I know it's blasphemy to people. I shouldn't say that S word either. But, you can actually literally swarm an opponent without having to fly in formation and be flanked. I think that Swarm Leader can let you break away from the addiction of Howl Runner, and I think it's an amazing thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes a pretty good amount of sense.
I hate Howl Runner. I love TIE Fighters, and I hate Howl Runner. Because she takes the strength of the TIE Fighter and removes it, which is mobility. All right. End rant.
Okay, so are there any more cards in this we should cover? I think that might be it.
I think that covers it, yeah.
Is that all the piles?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it overall. I think it's going to have a big impact on Mario Kart.
Yes.
The
implications for Mario Kart are pretty significant here.
Yep, and that's honestly my focus and going forward here is how will this affect my Mario Kart gaming?
Yes. Which I have to say, there's actually a decent following on the FFG forums of people constantly updating and communicating on the Mario Kart rules. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I think people are really enjoying that game type.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, so we've run a while now with news. I know we didn't do any other segment because we'd be chatting for a good while. And I do appreciate J-Bud. I know you're low on batteries. Your lights come on.
Yep. Need to find a charger fast.
And Gonk is nowhere to be found, of course.
As is tradition.
Yes. So I do appreciate everybody's input. I thought it was a good episode. I like a lot of these cards that have come out, these ships and stuff. There's a lot to talk about, and I almost feel like we just kind of scratched the surface. So if you do have your opinions of these, come to the Shuttle Tydirium Facebook page and post. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, post your custom ship ideas.
Yeah.
Both for the captain's question and
the custom card league.
Custom card league, check it out. I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah. Sounds good. So everybody, thanks again, and Alex, happy birthday. You're 15 now, 14. Anyways, happy birthday, and we'll go ahead and end this episode of the Shuttle Tydirium Podcast. Woo-woo. All right, guys. Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Have a good one.